ceremony is scheduled for Monday, May 11th, but events begin today and continue throughout the weekend. Programming includes alumni reunions, student celebrations, live performances, including a performance by Signal Hill, and community gatherings tied to one of Mount Allison's busiest weekends of the year. Convocation Weekend also brings increased activity to local hotels, restaurants, and businesses as visitors travel to the region. A full schedule of events is available through Mount Allison University. And now we'll hear from 3 candidates ahead of this Monday's municipal election. First up, Jason Holmes. He's running for one of the council seats in Ward 1. He spent more than 3 decades with Dorchester Fire and Rescue and says he's now looking to serve the community in a new way. Here's that conversation. This is Clinton Davis with CHMA News here in Tantramar, and I'm back with more election coverage. Today, I am talking to Jason Holmes. Jason Holmes is running for the position of councillor in Ward 1. How are you, Jason?
Good, you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I wasn't born here. I was born in Alberta, but my parents moved back a year later, so I've been basically raised here my whole life. My parents were raised here, my grandparents, my great-grandparents. I went to school in Dorchester. My kids have gone to school in Dorchester. I've dedicated 33 years to the Dorchester Fire and Rescue, serving the community and the outlying community LSD areas, which are now all part of Ward 1 Tantramar.
Thank you. What made you decide to run in this year's municipal election?
Well, I had run before under the Village of Dorchester. Unfortunately, I wasn't elected, which is okay. They got a good candidate. The fire department has given me a lot to see and a lot to learn, and now I'm just looking for that next step to help the community in other ways. Fire department helps in the prevention of health and safety, but now I'm looking to do more, so with the schools and the roads and things like that. So that's what's got me going to run. I want Dorchester to have a good, strong voice. I grew up here. I have lots of connections here, so I believe I have the drive to get things done that the people of Dorchester like to see done.
Okay, thank you. And speaking of getting things done, if you are chosen and elected for this year's municipal election, what is it that you hope to accomplish?
Well, there's lots of mountains to climb. There's big mountains and little mountains. And some of our big mountains are, of course, the federal institution, the penitentiary. That's a huge mountain to climb, but we have many, many small mountains to climb. Our road improvements, good parks, safe parks for our children, sidewalks that are up to date and in good repair for our students to walk to school. Of course, our roads, and the main thing is our school. Our school is a fantastic school. I think if I would have been in a bigger school, I may not have done as well as I have in a small school. I find this small school, there's more connection with the students and the teachers. And our small businesses, you believe it or not, I've been going around checking small businesses. There's some that I didn't even know were here. Like Dorchester has a fair amount of small businesses that, we should be supporting and advertising ourselves and get more families in here and get more children in here, because Dorchester really is a great place to live.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time and chatting with me ahead of this year's election. We're definitely wishing you the best come Monday.
Thank you. Hopefully, if I get in, I'm going to do my best. Like the only promise that any candidate could really make is no promise, but the promise that you'll do the best you can for your constituents.
Thank you. That was Jason Holmes, a candidate running for council in Ward 1. We continue now with another Ward 1 candidate. Caitlin Olive was born and raised in Dorchester and says her focus is on infrastructure, community services, and strengthening connections between different levels of government. Here's that conversation. And you're back with Clinton Davis from CHMA News here in Tantramar. I'm here with Caitlin Olive, who is a candidate in this year's municipal election. Caitlin is running for Ward 1. How are you today, Caitlin?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Fantastic. Well, let's get right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I have been born and raised in Dorchester. I am ninth generation on my dad's side, originating in 1772 here. I have been a homeowner and a taxpayer since 21 years this year. I've raised my family here in Dorchester. I have sat on the Save Our School committee in 2015 with great success, moved on to being the PSSC chair for Dorchester, have been a Girl Guide leader, a volunteer to a lot of kids organizations over the years. I have been asked by community members and my family to come forward and run for municipal council in our area. And after a lot of thought, I decided that it could be the best time to come forward and run.
Thank you so much. So that's a good segue to my next question, because is that the driving force? What is it that made you decide to run in this year's municipal election?
Well, having 3 kids here that are coming into being young adults, they've discussed the want to stay in the community. I have considered running for council when they were younger, and I was a taxpayer in the village of Dorchester. I ended up moving to the local service district and was unable to run to address issues within the municipality at that time. That being said, when amalgamation came up the first time around, it just wasn't the right timing. This time, I am looking at a lot of the same issues that the community is facing from 20 years ago that are still on the table that I'd like to explore. I'd really like to bridge the gap between the municipal and the local service districts, between municipal and provincial government. I'd really like to advocate for bilingualism in our school, and I'd like to bridge the gap between us and the penitentiary, and advocate for more programming for our community, more equal opportunities. And that being said, I thought that it may be the right time to come forward and sit at the table, talk about budget, and talk about services. Our roads right now are in terrible condition coming into and out of our ward. The Route 935 needs more than greater patching. It needs to be completely redone. Woodlawn needs more than approximately $100,000 budget for a fix. We need to talk about real fixes to real problems. If our roof was leaking, we wouldn't just tar patch it. We would have to replace the entire roof. I really want to look at building up the park, the infrastructure. We have an empty building in the middle of town that used to be our municipal office. It would be nice to see it be utilized.
Okay, and continuing on with that, I guess what you're saying, if elected for a seat in council on May 11th, what is it you hope to accomplish during that time?
So if elected on May 11th, I would really like to bring our community back to life, kind of support everybody that's looking to breathe life back into the community. I would really like to focus on us being a shire town and look at the history for tourism, support our businesses, bring equal opportunity. I would like to see us send more than a letter asking to keep our school to the province, but to ask for bilingual services in our school. I would like to ask for better access to healthcare for our seniors. I would like to see all of our buildings being utilized better. The municipal office building in the town square should have something repurposed. I would like to see the square, which is where we have a ton of vibrant history, be really revitalized. Our sidewalks to the school should be safe for the kids. The kids really could use a splash pad. There's lots of grants and funding out there that I'd like to explore. And I'd really like to, like I said, when I wanted to run for council way back 21 years ago, I would really like to build our relationship with the penitentiary. Sitting in on the site reveal, they seem very interested to work with the community. And it would be nice to really bridge gaps, our roads coming into town, our services, our infrastructure, and build our community back up, support our volunteer programs. We have amazing volunteer programs here in Dorchester, and it would be really nice to see our festivals, especially our Shiretown Day Festival, really get supported from municipal office. Sackville has Sappy Fest, Levy on the Lake, and Fall Fair. It would be really nice to see Dorchester be promoted. And I mean, we are a shire town.
Thank you so much. Well, once again, that was Caitlin Olive. Caitlin is running for a seat in council here in Tantramar for Ward 1. That's the Dorchester region. I'm wishing you the best of luck come Monday in this year's election, Caitlin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we'll stay in Ward 1, but shift to the race for mayor. Debbie Wiggins Caldwell is the current deputy mayor of Tantramar and is now running for mayor in the May 11th election. She spoke about her experience on council and what she says she would want to change if elected. This is Clinton Davis, and I'm here and back speaking with candidate Debbie Wiggins Caldwell. Debbie Wiggins Caldwell is currently a member of council. She's the deputy mayor, and she is running for the position of mayor in this year's May 11th municipal election. How are you, Debbie?
Fine, thank you.
Wonderful. Well, let's get right into it.
Sure.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been a longtime resident here in Tantramar. Specifically born and raised in Sackville, came to Dorchester about 55 years ago, lived here, became the mayor of the village of Dorchester. Then when amalgamation hit, I became Ward 1 representative for Dorchester. Then I became deputy mayor, and now I'm running for mayor for the municipality of Tantramar.
Wow. And what is it that made you run for the position of mayor in this year's election?
Well, I have some experience under my belt, Clint, being in municipal politics probably for about 6 years now, and sitting 3 years on the council of being Ward 1 representative and seeing some of the pros and cons, because amalgamation wasn't an easy thing for the municipality to bring forth. So I seen the struggles that people had in there. And I myself had struggles in 3 years sitting on council. So I'm thinking I can see where I could probably make a bit of a change in the municipality by bringing forth my experience. And I'm retired, so I've got the time. And I think I would be a good fit for mayor. So we'll have to see how people perceive that and how they vote on Monday.
Absolutely. And leading into what you were just saying, if elected as mayor on May 11th, what is it you hope to accomplish?
Well, I hope to accomplish to have better communication, more transparency. There's a lot of things that go on behind that. Even us as elected officials, we don't get to bring forth. And that's really concerning to me because we're there because the people elected us. We're their representative. So we should know what's going on before the public knows. And I'm finding that path of communication isn't open between, say, maybe the administration or maybe the mayor and the CAO. I don't find there's a nice flow. There's not enough. And we've seen this. We've had complaints. Share with us. Like, we're elected. Bring forth what you're thinking and let us, we're the ear. Our ear are the closest to the ground of the people that elected us. And I think people are kind of losing that feeling. And that's why there's no trust. People are having trust. Well, we're not voting. Why would we vote? We have no say in this. Well, I want to make sure there's a say, that people have a say. And I'm pretty true to my words. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm not the best speaker in the world, and maybe I'm not but I do have the people's concern at heart.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come down to speak with me. We are definitely wishing you the best of luck in this year's municipal election.
I thank you very much, Clint. Thank you.
Debbie Wiggins Caldwell is currently deputy mayor in Tantramar, and she is running for the position of mayor in this year's municipal election. I'm Clinton Davis with CHMA News here in Tantramar. Election day is set for May 11th. CHMA will continue bringing you candidate interviews and election coverage in the days leading up to the vote, which is only 3 days from now. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, email news@chmafm.com. For CHMA News, I'm Clinton Davis here in Tantramar. Get out there and vote.
Hi, I'm Angela, and you're listening to CHMA.
And here is your CHMA Atlantic update. Over a dozen residents in western New Brunswick are taking legal action against a potato chip company they say is disrupting their lives. They say the operations of Covered Bridge Potato Chips Limited is causing excessive noise, industrial smells, light pollution, and heavy truck traffic in the town of Woodstock. The group says they thought the company's factory in Woodstock that opened last year would be temporary. They filed a legal claim to New Brunswick's Farm Practices Review Board, which will consider whether it should hold a hearing or pass it on to the Court of King's Bench. Mounties in New Brunswick are renewing calls for information in the disappearance of a 14-year-old Bathurst girl whose death has been ruled a homicide. RCMP say Madison Roy Boudreau was last seen getting into a gray Ford Ranger on the morning of May 11, 2021 in Bathurst and was reported missing that day. After an exhaustive search, Roy Boudreau's disappearance was ruled a homicide in August of that year. In a release, Corporal Hans Willett said police have reason to believe the 14-year-old was in the Middle River area after she was last seen in Bathurst. The Tory government in Newfoundland and Labrador came under fire from opposition parties yesterday for its handling of a draft energy deal with Hydro-Quebec. The Progressive Conservatives hired Byrne Coffey, an outspoken critic of the tentative agreement, and Jerome Kennedy, a former cabinet member under Danny Williams, to provide advice on the draft deal. The NDP and Liberals questioned the lawyers' political affiliations and accused the PCs of secretly hiring the lawyers in January. Former PC Premier Williams donated more than $46,000 to the Tories before the October election in an effort, he said, to stop the deal. Police in Newfoundland have charged a 37-year-old man in connection with alleged sexual violence against youths in St. John's. The Royal Newfoundland Constabulary says it received a report in February about sexual violence against a teenage girl. Police say they have since discovered a second victim. On Monday, police charged the suspect with sexual assault, sexual interference, multiple counts of luring children, and other crimes. A group of tenants in Halifax say they are fed up with chronic cockroach, mice, and bedbug infestations in their homes and say their landlords are neglecting the problems. Heather Dunham says every morning when she goes to make tea, she's faced with a dozen or so cockroaches crawling around her counter. The single mother has lived in a Spryfield apartment for 11 years and says her landlord continues to ignore the issues. Housing advocacy group Acorn is calling for stronger enforcement of the city's property standards bylaws. The Workers' Compensation Board says Nova Scotia has reached a record low personal injury rate. The provincial body says some of the most dangerous sectors, like construction, are also hitting all-time lows. It said the manufacturing sector has seen its injury rate by 45% over the last decade. The board says people who do get hurt are going back to work faster, and the number of days lost to injury have declined. RCMP are asking the public for help solving a homicide in North Preston, Nova Scotia last fall. Police say 28-year-old Jaden Tynes was shot around 5 p.m. on November 2nd of last year, later dying in hospital. Police say a white four-door Hyundai Elantra with dark-tinted windows was seen in the area shortly after the shooting. They say it may be connected to the murder and are asking anybody with information on the owner or the driver to come forward. And that has been your CHMA Atlantic Update.
Hi, I'm Victoria and you're listening to CHMA.
And now for the weather. Today we're looking at cloudy skies with a 60% chance of showers, risk of a thunder shower in the afternoon, with fog patches dissipating in the morning, wind becoming northwest 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 40 late in the afternoon, with a high of 12 and a UV index of 3 or moderate. At night, partly cloudy skies with a 60% chance of showers early in the evening with a risk of a thunder shower. Clearing before morning, wind northwest 20 kilometers an hour gusting to 40, becoming light near midnight with a low of +2. On Saturday, May 9th, sunny skies with a high of 16, then showers at night with a low of 6. On Sunday, May 10th, showers with a high of 14, then rain at night with a low of 10. On Monday, May 11th, showers with a high of 18, then showers at night with a low of 9. On Tuesday, May 12th, showers with a high of 12, then cloudy periods at night with a low of +3. Finally, on Wednesday, May 13th, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 14. And that has been the weather.
Hi, my name is Claire, and you're listening to CHMA 106.9 FM in Sackville, New Brunswick, the voice of the marshes.
And here's Brian Nielsen with your CHMA Sports Update.
We begin today in hockey playoffs, beginning with the PWHL. Last night, the Montreal Victoire defeat the Minnesota Frost to force a decisive Game 5 in their Walter Cup Best of 5 series to see who goes on to face the winner of the series between the Boston Fleet and the Ottawa Charge. Both those series continue tonight. Ottawa, the early game, Montreal, the late game. In the NHL last night, it was the Carolina Hurricanes putting a stranglehold on their second round series with the Philadelphia Flyers. Canes come out on top 4-1, meaning that they are just one game away from advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. And in the Gilles Courteau Cup in the QJMHL, tonight the best of 7 series starts with your Moncton Wildcats hosting the Chicoutimi Saguenay. Moving over to the NBA. The NBA action was fantastic last night, where the Pistons held off a spirited Cleveland Cavaliers squad at home in the Motor City. 107-97 final, giving the Pistons a 2-0 lead, holding serve at home going into the weekend against the Cavaliers, Game 3 on Sunday. And it was the Oklahoma City Thunder defeating the Los Angeles Lakers in the end. Lakers kept it close in the first half, but OKC pulls away in the second. They finished with a 125-107 victory, giving the Thunder a 2-0 lead in that second round Western Conference series. In the Professional Women's Basketball Association, the regular season starts today. 3 games on the schedule. Most importantly, it is the Washington Mystics facing off against the Toronto Tempo at the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto. Toronto looking to start their inaugural season with a W. And the Major League Baseball season continues to roll on. Yesterday, it was the New York Yankees defeating the Texas Rangers at home 9-2. Nationals defeat the Twins 7-5 in D.C. It was the Guardians with an 8-5 victory over the Royals in Kansas City. Chicago Cubs, they get their 15th straight victory at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field against the Cincinnati Reds. 8-3 final there. Rockies defeat the Mets in Denver 6-2. Pittsburgh doubles up on the D-backs 4-2 in Arizona. Athletics bats warm up and they defeat the Philadelphia Phillies in Pennsylvania. 12-1 final there. Miami comes back in the bottom of the 9th to defeat the Baltimore Orioles. 4-3 final there. Rays, hottest team in baseball, they double up the Boston Red Sox at Fenway. 8-4 final there, moving the Rays to 25-12 on the season. And in the nightcap, it was the St. Louis Cardinals defeating your San Diego Padres 2-1.
And that's Brian Nielsen with your CHMA Sports Update. Please be sure to check out Brian's show on Mondays at 8:30 a.m. for more sports commentary.
Hi, I'm Steve Riddlington, and you're listening to CHMA 106.9 FM in Sackville, New Brunswick.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. We're MTA Presents, and you're listening to CHMA.
And now for what's happening in your community. First up, please be advised that Bickerton Avenue will be closed from now until 8 p.m. this evening for sewer repairs. This is a road closure public notice. Next up, treat your mother to a beautiful Mother's Day morning at Truman's. The Truman Blueberry Farms will be hosting a special Mother's Day breakfast on Sunday, May 10th from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Enjoy a delicious breakfast featuring fluffy pancakes, sausages, and refreshments in the train station while celebrating the mother figures in your lives. All breakfast guests will also receive access to the tulip fields. Breakfast is $12.99 per person. Little ones 24 months and under eat for free. You can purchase your tickets at Touch Bistro, and you can also find this event at 2255 Eder Ridge Road in Allac. This is the Truman's Farm Mother's Day Breakfast. Hydra and Riptide Dragon Boats presents their 2026 Adult Prom, featuring beverage tasting from local breweries, wineries, and distilleries. You can expect a catered dinner, dancing, prizes, a silent auction, and more as the event kicks off on Saturday, May 23rd. The doors open at 7 p.m. in the Tantramar Regional High School foyer. The event is 19 plus. Tickets are $30 per person. Make Something Sunday is a monthly program that introduces new materials and ways of making art through informal hands-on workshops for kids 12 and under and their grown-ups. You can join us on Sunday, May 24th at the Owens Art Gallery on 61 York Street in Sackville from 2 to 4 p.m. Drop in for half an hour or stay for 2. No booking is required, and the program is offered free of charge. In this session, kids can create their own pocket-sized sketchbook, decorate the cover with washi tape and collage, and pick up a sketching pencil to go with it, making it a fun little kit they can use to draw wherever they go. This May, you can buy tickets for the 2026 ballet production of Alice, A Dance Tale, hosted by the Academy of Classical Ballet and Modern Dances in Sackville. This in-person event will be showing at the Marjorie Young Bell Convocation Hall on May 29th at 6 p.m. and May 30th at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. Tickets are available online and in person. You can purchase them at the studio, the Academy of Classical Ballet and Modern Dances studio, as well as Bloom's on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Check out Alice, A Dance Tale, hosted by the Academy of Classical Ballet and Modern Dances. And that has been What's Happening in Your Community.
And that was your CHMA News. Please visit www.chmafm.com for more news and to sign up for our email newsletter. Funding is provided by our monthly sustainers, the Community Radio Fund of Canada, and the Municipality of Tantramar's Community Development Grant. If you have a story idea or would like to include an announcement, please write us at news@chmafm.com.
Listen to The Night Shift every Sunday at 9 p.m. on CHMA to hear Luca Capone spin a diverse, adventurous mix of sounds from psychedelic jazz to experimental hip-hop, tropicalia to music concrete, and a heavy focus on Canadian and independent artists. This is a show you don't want to miss out on.
Yeah, I think about you all the time. Yes, I do. Nearly every day you're on my mind. Yes, it's true. All the places that I sit around while I think about you. Somewhere wild on your own, far from home. You said let me go so I can know what knows, and I can see the river out there among the wild roses. I drizzle through the trees, there you'll go. And the taste of all the woodland breeze on your nose. All the mountaintops you climb upon, that's where I think about